virtual machine, we should have a video of the rest. All right. So one of the things with Linux is it's usually pretty helpful. If it can't do it one way, try to do it the other way that it suggests. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to do apt get install. Yes, I am have to do sudo.
Because I tried it and it didn't work until I put sudo on.
Sudo apt get install Python 3.venv. So let's see if I can lift that. I don't know if I can. Because if I press enter, it'll just execute. How can I lift that?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, if you want to.
What is after Python?
Python 3 venv.
My thing is telling me it's not recognizing sudo, which it should.
Sudo, yeah, sudo.
Yeah, I know.
It should ask for your password. And the password is, again, P. And here's something that drives some people nuts the first time you do it. When you type in a password, the cursor does not move, no characters show. So when I press this line, I get the password for Steve. And that's password P at SSW0RD1. And again, no cursor movement, no, so it looks like it's broken, but it's not.
Actually, it's not taking sudo, that's why I can't do it.
Let's see your sudo.
Oh.
And then it asks if I want to continue. I'm going to say yes. And it installs things. I don't know why it needs to do this. As I said, so when we're back here, and I'll give it a minute, we should be ready to move ahead with where we were before. Now, again, on Windows, sometimes with Windows, you'll find that there are dependencies missing too. Typically with Postgres, if there's any errors that you don't have certain C++ libraries, and you can install them. But usually Windows contains them. It's kind of a version thing. All right, are we ready to move on? How many are back at the command prompt? You're still, so you need to type sudo. Oh, don't put any spaces between the app and the app dash. Yeah. Couple of things that'll drive you nuts, not only with Linux, but in the Python. It's case sensitive. It's space sensitive. So I don't know if you can notice, actually let me. All right, so I did a clear so I can be at the top. You don't have to do that. If you do the up arrow or the down arrow, you can cycle through your commands. So you don't have to type them again. Yeah. Take a quick look.
Yeah, it's like instead of using AU, because it's hard because I'm not seeing what you're typing. You should use this.
Yeah. So you want to try that, but don't put it in free. So you've got
Yes.
Is there no space between the dash and
Tutorials and references. The Django tutorial. Yeah. His main client recommends in Germany. They wanted to have something that they could introduce people to Python.
So I have everything on
Go
here.
into
Right.
So
Where is it?
It's just so it's set here to whenever it says Python. So when I start any of these,
That's because Python is in your path.
I've coached with that tutorial many
Yeah,
times.
so do you have
It is worth looking at. It's really friendly, like they expect you to be a beginner. I really.
All right, so if you press enter, it should come up like this. And when I do an ls inside of Dragonflies, it should be an env01. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to activate the virtual environment. This is a little different on Windows. All right, so, but in here we want to do source env01, if that's what you named it, bin, and then activate. On Windows, don't write source. Just go to the name of your virtual environment, and instead of bin, it's scripts. SCRIPTS. Activate. You can know that it works because the name of your virtual environment shows up in front of your prompt.
Some of this thing, installing it, why do I also have to install a virtual environment on it? Can I skip that step?
No, you cannot.
Why?
So the virtual environment here isn't like a virtual machine.
Okay.
This environment is basically so that your Python web pages can be hosted into a web browser. It's basically like a local version of Apache. And actually from what I've been reading about attaching it to Apache, it has to be running for it to work on Apache. You had a question?
I didn't see the version of my phone. It is Python.
So what I was
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I just hear going.
Oh, yeah.
So, maybe
Oh, you know what you have to do? CD.
thank you.
I've got an old one about that.
It just looks like an open one, right?
Yeah, basically it does, yeah. Then you just have a couple of extra functionalities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so I can follow along.
Yeah.
Then having to type it.
So when you're saying no, is that I don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, so I see lots of troubleshooting in my near future. When you're here, did you have a question real quick back there? Are you okay? Question or okay? Let me take a quick look. And then what you want to do in here is hit install. There you go.
Yeah, but that's just, you're not doing anything there, you're ready to start coding. You just sit there and do
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm just wondering, because I'm using local drone as well. Django needs. I mean, it's an operational system, it's used, that's why.
Did you name this interview?
Why did I?
That would be the main name.
I don't know what this is. Yeah, I'm using it. This is different. All right. So let's do this last bit, and then I'll do all the troubleshooting I can, and then I'm. So this is last part. There's like just a couple more pieces, and then I'll spend the last hour probably troubleshooting. So if your Python, if it can't on Windows, if it can't see Python, that just means that it's not in the path. So we need to create a path statement, and I'll do that later. But for right now, what I want to do is pip install Django, and it will install the Django files. If you're in the Python shell, do exit. Yeah.
He's in the Python shell, but he wants to be just command.
Oh, so just open up command or.
Just trying to understand.
So just type cmd or PowerShell.
So you had to go over the.
No, you can. I mean, it doesn't matter. But you want to be in the environment. You want the environment activated, and you want to be in the environment. If you get an error that pip doesn't exist, it's because the environment is not activated. This is the hardest part, right? In many ways, this is the hardest part. But I wanted you to go through the installation because I think it's important. It's not too hard the second time you do it. Once you've got this far, we actually are at the point where we can create our projects. So how many you guys got this sort of? Yeah, you got it? Yeah. Okay. You haven't, you got it. Who doesn't have it? I think.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Or three.
You need the virtual environment. You need the VM. So again, so you don't want to do it on C drive. I mean, you want C, but do CD. You want to do it from the user. And then the one you are.
So you want to do
your username.
I know why. And, okay,
CD and then username.
wherever you want to create your environment.
There shouldn't be that many users. So you would be.
Those are just your
No, yeah.
All right, and then do probably CD documents.
So you're just
One of the reasons you don't want to do it on C is you don't have permissions to install. All right, now if you do Python, I mean, you can make a Django directory if you want or something.
From this one.
Yeah, and then just create the virtual environment inside of that. If you were trying to make it on C drive, that might be why it fails. Okay, are we ready? All right.
We installed everything, my tech app works.
And you already got the apps and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to one to create a presentation. I had to do that.
Yeah.
So I already have the virtual environment, but I already had Django before.
Oh, if you already had Django, you don't have to set it up again.
Okay.
So yeah, you only have to set up Django once. That's what I said, the chaos for today. I'm going to show you the last parts, and then I'll come troubleshoot. And I'll try to figure out where on your Windows. Python installs under the user. If you go into C, users, your username, you'll find Python on there, usually. But we have to set up a path for that, for those that didn't get it. What I'm going to do now, last part, is I'm going to set up the projects and the projects and the apps. Okay. I'm going to set up 2. You only have to do 1. You only have to do the Python Club. You can do the other if you want to follow along in class. So are we ready? And so what I'm going to do is.
I'm still having trouble with y'all.
Right, but you're not.
No,
No, you need
space, and then whatever you want to name it, so ENVO. So back to the 0 XD 0 1. Yeah, not 0 1 0. So, did you install Python on your machine?
Django.
Did you?
I'm out of there again.
So,
All right, as I told you, today would be chaotic. It'll get better. It will get better. All right, so to create the projects, I don't know if clear will work here. Yeah, it did. So I went to the top just so I could do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say Django. This is after you've installed Django. I'm going to say Django admin create project. And my first project I'm going to call Tech Review. And I'm actually going to call it Tech Review Project. I'll just do Proj. Partially to keep it clear a little bit. I'm going to try to name things that, in a way that doesn't get people too lost. So this is going to create a new project. Why is no Django settings set? Oh, start project. Sorry. It seems like I've done that more than once. All right, so it starts project. The way you know it works is it gives you no feedback. If I do an ls, though, notice that I've got a tech review project. And if I do a cd into tech review project, cd is for change directory. And it is case sensitive, so I capitalized it. I should have probably known it.
So we wanted to create that at the same level as the environment, not in the environment?
You could do it in the environment. It'll work either way. It may involve having to start the environment more often if it's not in the environment. If you do it in the environment, it's fine. It probably is better. What? Yes, it is. Yeah, thank you. I did it outside the project. I think I told you to do it inside the project. The advantage of doing it inside the ENV01 is that it's always active. Here it may not always be active, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. So we're inside of that folder now. And if we do that, notice it's already, if this is what confuses people, there's this enclosing tech review project. Inside of the tech review project folder, there's another tech review project folder. All right. So there's an outer folder with the project name, and there's an inner folder with the project name. And it does that. There's really no way around it. And don't change the names. It'll screw you up forever. manage pi is a real key file. It's one that we're going to be using a lot. So once I'm in the tech review project, I can do Python 3, manage pi. And again, if you're on your own machine, and I know a lot of you on your own machine aren't here yet, but if you're on your own machine, just do Python. Python manage pi, and I'm going to do start app, and I'll give the app a name, which I guess I call tech review app. I guess I will capitalize. I may regret this caps. Tech review app. And again, the way that you know that it worked is that it gives you no feedback. If I do an ls, you'll see that we have manage pi, tech review app, and tech review project. There are files in both of these that I'll show you in a moment. I could do you do not have to do this. So isn't it called tree? apt-get, is it install? All right, well, maybe I'll ignore that. Here's how to get the answer, tree. Sudo apt install tree. Again, you don't need this. This is just for, this tree is just for me to show you something. You don't need it. You can get it if you want. And what I did to get it is I just did sudo apt install tree. What I wanted to show you is it gives you a nice picture of what we've got, right? So we've got, this is inside the outer folder, right? So there's a tech review folder, project folder. Inside of that, we have a tech review app and we have a tech review project folder, same name as the outer folder. Inside the tech review app, we have an admin, we have an apps py, we have a models py, we have a test py, and we have a views py. Those are the files that is created inside the app. Inside the project, the internal project folder, we can ignore the site, the migrations and these right now, but we have a settings py, a URLs py, and a WSGI py. So these are all Python files. They're the py. The admin py is where we'll register our models so that we can look at them in the admin app. Models is where we'll write our code that will map to the database. Tests is where you write your tests. Views is where you make the code that will transfer from the model to the web page, basically. We're going to add things to this. This is what you get when you initially do it. Settings.py is where we'll set up the database connection. URLs.py, we're going to redirect to a URLs py here, which isn't there yet, but we'll add it. The WSGI we'll probably ignore for most of the quarter at least. This is what you use to connect to Apache, which is the actual web server. You don't need to test this stuff. You don't have to be in the actual web server, but if you wanted to serve it out to the world, you do. Right? Does that make sense? So the tree was there just to do this, just to show you this. The directory structure will drive you crazy for a while, right? Because everything's broken up into tiny little groupings, and that's real common among frameworks. It's also essentially a good programming practice. Everything should be, you should break up all functionality. Everything should be one kind of functionality, right? You don't want to kind of merge and mix all the different functionality together because it makes troubleshooting impossible. All right, so does that make sense? That's what the app does. I'm going to make another app although I'm actually not going to use it much, but this is the one you will be using. So we're going to, in class, build an application that's called Tech Review Project, right? We're going to build that together in class, and it is the example one. The actual assignments, and I'm going to do a clear again, which will clear the tree, but just to get it up at the top. The actual assignment will be, and I need to go back one level. If you do cd ... it goes back one folder level. And I'm going to do Django-admin start project. And this project will be Python Club.
So you went back to the Django.
You have to,
file.
yeah, you have
If you're
to.
in environment, do you want to be in the environment folder or do you want to be in the Django files folder?
Do you have a Django files folder?
Well, it's a different name, but I do. But then I have environment, then I have Tech Review Project.
It would be outside of the Tech Review projects, one level beyond before the project.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it's a higher, the level at which you first created the project is where Django admin is. So Tech Review Project is the one we created by saying this, right? And I'm going to create a folder called Python. So if I do the listings again, now we've got two projects. We've got our environment. If you're in the environment, you may not see that. We've got Python Club and Tech Review. And then I need to cd Python Club. You have to spell it right. And then in there, you would do Python 3 manage.py start app. And what do we want to call it? Club app? And then if I do a tree at this point, you'll see that we have now our app, Club app, and it has all those same files in it. And then we have our Python Club folder, and it has all the same files in it. This is the basic structure. You should have. What are you missing?
You just do two trees. You actually go in your directory, open up the folder. There's a button for it to show up with the tree.
What? So tree would have to be installed, so don't worry about it, unless you want to.
I only get migrations. This is Windows, so I don't.
So migrations,
Yeah, I get Club app, and then after that, I only have migration.
the others should be there too. Are they not? I'm not sure the tree in Windows works. You have to install the tree. Let's do that. Windows tree is a little bit. I know exactly.
So is this what we need for our homework?
So yeah, we've actually done what we need for the homework, except I want to show you one other little piece, and then I want to troubleshoot, especially the top.
How do we export it?
Do you guys want to write tree? There's no way. So what I want you to do for this turning things in, and then I'll come. There's one last piece I want to show you. Two last pieces. One is, let's open this in Visual Studio Code.
You're still in the virtual.
Yes. So in the VS Code, which I'm going to maximize. So I am going to do File, Open File, and I can probably make this bigger. Actually, I don't want to open file. Screw that. That's wrong. Where's cancel? I want to open folder. File, open folder. I am going to go to Home, Django Files, and I'll open the tech project. I'm going to do OK, and it will open up. Let's see, I can zoom this. So it's Control Plus for zooming. So it has the Tech Review app and the Tech Review project. And if I open those, you can see the files. So what you have to do is hit the little square box down below. So I'm in Visual Studio Code. And this is where we're going to do all of our coding, right? And it asks you if you want to do Pylint. Do not install that. It is a pain in the butt.
Install what?
Pylint.
Oh.
It makes it calls a lot of things errors that are not errors.
You're glad I said.
Yeah. Generally, it's a debugging tool. It helps, but yeah. So go up another slide. This one.
So I'm on a was. Go to open folder and you said to do the project, right?
Well, actually, so outer one. You might have to install the Python.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Why does every software
Start from
you know why?
Yes, I am recording this. Okay, so the way I want assignments turned in, and it could even start at this point, is to go to GitHub. That's fine. If you have a GitHub account, that's all you need. All right, so I'm going to do, now I'm going to my account. So if you don't have a GitHub account, you can get one for free, right? And how many don't have a GitHub account? Everyone, you don't have? So you can have one for free. And this is my preferred way for turning things in, is to do a GitHub account. I have to sign in because it's a new machine. All right, so I am going to, having signed in, I'm going to create a new repository. And I'm going to call it, I have like 4 tech reviews on here, but I'm going to do like, I guess I will call it Tech Review Project.
Will we need 2, one for Python Club and one for Tech Review?
You can, although you don't, it doesn't matter to me if you post Tech Review to Canvas. Although, if you want to work between here and home, posting it's a good way because then the code will be available, right? The only one I care about is the Python Club. I mean, that's the one where you will be turning things in. So I'm going to call this your tech review project. I'm hoping I don't have anything named that. I will say it's the class project, and I will post every class at the end of class when we do coding together. I will post it on GitHub, so you'll have that code, plus all of the earlier iterations of it, plus the blog. So you'll have lots of copies of this one. So I'm going to say class project spring 2019. All right, so I'm going to create the repository. So I want to, let's do, I guess I'll do it, get started by creating a new file. Let's see. I usually do this with, so I'll do a README. And I'm going to leave that there. And then I'm going to, we'll commit this just so it's got something in it. I actually do use commit the README files. I often will comment each commit so that it tells what changes I've made. Although the commits themselves do that. What? Oh, okay. So I'm going to upload files. And this is what I'm going to, we'll go over this again, because as I said, I'll commit them each time. There is a file cabinet over here. I mean, you could do this code-wise, but I'm going to just do it a file cabinet. And I am going to go into Django files, and I'm going to take the tech review project, and I'm just going to drag that whole folder over here. And one of the things I want to beg of you is that every time when you update your file, you just drag the whole folder over there. Don't try to dice the different parts. Right, so you need to want a new, not a project, want a new, a new project. Oh, I see. Okay. And then, no, that's project. Go back up to the new, the top one. Yep. That's true. And give it a name. You guys have questions? So commit your, go down a little bit.
What's the name?
This is the file. And then when you, so you can just take like the Python, right?
So you did not choose, you did not do that.
I did not, although you can, but I did this. And then I just went to Django files, and then I got the, yeah, and just grabbed it. And you can
Okay, thank you.
all right, so. Oh, don't worry about it. Some of the errors that it throws are not errors. Did you do the pilot?
Okay.
The ones that it's not importing, which does make a little difference when you try to redo them, because it's not importing the init _pi because they're empty. Those are empty files. They're necessary for Python, but they are empty and it won't import them. So when you do this, when you import it like this, all right, so then you have to commit, right? If you don't commit, so I'm going to say this is just the first commit. And I'm going to commit changes. Which may take a few moments. Okay, so it gives me like this tech review project, and then I can go in there. I mean, it's empty now, but if you keep adding to it, we'll keep building on it, right? And then we'll do, so I'll go into the tech review app, and it has the files, and immediately they're empty. You know, import models, that's about all that's there. But we will fill them. And for every assignment, you can just submit the URL. And it's really easy for me when you do that to come and look at this and see if the things are there. It's really nice. It is so much better than trying to paste the code into a Google Doc or something. You know, it's all there. I can look, you know, it just makes it really easy. And it gives you something to show. If you go off in the future and you want to show people you've done some Django, you have an example that you can show them.
Can we so all this done from Git with the command line?
Yes, you certainly can use the command line. I did the drag because it's really easy, but you can absolutely use the command line to commit it.
You can make the change.
You don't want to drag just one.
Yeah, I know, it's just, I don't know, I just drew the one. Yes.
And then you probably, are you outside?
Yeah.
So this file manages quite easily. Then you go to like Django, and drag the whole folder into the. So click on readme. Go down to the bottom.
So yeah, you have to make
And then upload files.
That's my assumption. I'm not trying to.
File manager. The main one we're going to do is one. So that's everything for today. So let me come troubleshoot the people that are having trouble.
Can I do the same for Python?
Yeah, do it for Python Club. Python Club is what I actually want for this. And you have to give it a name, like first.
Can you try to convince me to create a start?
Have you taken the class with these before?
So I created that.
So you have to do a CD and go into the folder, the project. The Python Club will give you a assignment. We're just going to start something.
Yeah, it'll probably be technical.
No, I think it would make a separate video.
So like, just like so well, just make Max where you can do that. You can't really do anything. No. Can't really do anything. I think I probably would still be okay with that. I mean, honestly, it's a little like if you got rid of that, you could probably do it just like
Yeah.
I think Apple's is like. Yeah. I don't know. Almost maintenance stuff would be way harder to edit. Yeah. Oh, this thing is just. Yes. Just enter it. It'll be.
So here, it says Saturday. Yeah, no, it's we'll be covering this in the live webinar.
That's what I was going to use.
Resources.
I don't know. But my understanding is that Zoom is like.
Yeah.
So it should just be like a open meeting. It should be not. Yes.
Especially with this small, I'm not really sure what the advantage is. Yeah. What I was hoping to do. But it did thing, so, but I guess, you know, I might just go back and install everything on there. But I don't know.
This would be exciting. The week one live webinar. She moved up in.
There it is. But I gotta start ground zero.
Yeah. I couldn't be comfortable. I didn't know this is
No, this is just like the college stuff for the area. The woman who gives the shot is, they can just work.
Because it's a research. Because I don't feel so like I woke up and I'm like, and I went to I looked at the see over everyone's house. And that's cool. But I need to figure out what I think is whether it's
So it's just.
And you do one I get really bored of the fruit strap. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I was watching how much it was like trying to find kids.
This is the creation from PS4 or from
I mean, she's really nice.
from the Mac. This is the folder. Now we get to the folder. In this case, it's navigate this. Because CD, yes, CD. You must be also who created the directory and already creates the directory, then you want to navigate. You want to put it. But this command creates directory.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it means. Okay, the command creates directory. Yeah, I understand that. But this is going to be from the command line. Yeah, so can you yeah, from the command.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this will be some of this, yeah, from
Tuesday. So because we assigned, I didn't make it. Now we use all the time to get hours. So you're on, so it's like, so we are. No problem. So just how much of that would create a new is. Also, and it's actually. Basically, you're. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I didn't pay for sure.
Yeah.
I started asking.
Yeah.
The other thing, all the top coding schools are free. Or paid for. I've got to figure out. I don't. This is here. We'll pick it up. And then I want to be a little. So you get.
They are.
We just assigned it.
You will get house, yes, before the money. You have before the internet?
But you can change this to be like, yes.
There's a full decrease for.
Well, I might leave.
Seven years. So, yeah.
So then.
Is it the open area? It should be internet. Number should be able to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It should be because when you get out,
You want to see it. Yeah, that's.
you already created one of the applications.
Who else is desperately?
So you need.
And then you need to submit it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think
Okay, so where are we?
I did all, I did my installation. Okay. So I should have did this.
I know. That's how I hear.
It's funny. So it's quite good. Okay. Then when you're going to create a topic,
So you set up where we, as far as we went to.
yeah.
Will you be here all the
So when once if I'm doing it, so I have do I have a post this year to
I'm going to show you how to put the command line in VS Code.
okay.
Because it'll open the command line. And we'll do that next time.
Okay.
Make sure I didn't get your number wrong. Did you find it?
No, I mean, I don't know what. You have me open up environment variables. That's as far as I got.
Okay. So. Let's go find it.
Very good.
So I think where it is.
Yeah, so we don't.
But what I did was I went on I did this. I did order it and this. And he's right. You got this one well. This is what I have to run the Come on, have it. I do. Yeah. Which this may be so wrong. I'm not going to do all the time, but I do it all the time.
Yeah.
It takes this 150. I think it's creative. Oh.
Okay, well, the weird thing is, so.
And that's down. I should come early and we all would do it.
Oh,
Yeah. So.
So here's.
And they tell you what to say all the yeah.
literally. Yeah, do that. Yeah, I know.
I think
Yeah, they do.
So it really is.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to install the.
I can do it. finding like, yeah, like 1 year production. Yeah. So, this is why if I don't rent a castle, I let down the hall with someone during yourself.
I think it's purchased by.
Doing it all with a candelabra as well.
Any indication of like
Yeah.
what it's doing.
The fact that it didn't crash right away.
Right.
One thing that I know how to do, I know how to do it right.
Before it was like,
Make those
it showed me what I did.
Alright, so now we should be able to do, yeah, so do the,
Why did you not give
the,
me
not done. That's good. Now you can do pin.
Okay, so I should be good. Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But, I had
So what I'm gonna do with these, if they look okay, I'll send you, I'll email you the list of the chapters. Let me go copy these. So I'll make a copy for you guys and a copy for me and a copy for. And then I will email you a list of all their links to Google Docs. For the chapters. And the Postgres you just downloaded is what we'll be using. I'll show you how to set up the databases and stuff.
Get out of the way. Someone will teach yourself better than taking a whole extra quarter to get done.
Yeah. I got you. My dog.
tomorrow.
She was trying to she did. She was.
Yeah.
Taking that class with a different teacher and just see the different approach.
She was the.
Yeah, it's on my.
Not that I want to do it again, but see you in a minute.
Nope.
Miss her so yeah.
Oh my God. Tuesday, so I built
So your goals as a person in a year from now.
Yeah. And I'll feel better.
Yeah. But at least they can see it's been there for a year.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, she absolutely.
And sharing.
Do you need to be broken together or just go through, cannot through the menu? GitHub? GitHub.com. And say,
Yes.
sign in.
And it's just.
Go. You need to GitHub. Yeah, so for right over here, GitHub. GitHub to talk.
Which is why I.
You just do that in the profile.
Yeah, there's a,
I have so many files in the process. You may pick them up.
yeah, oh, yeah, and I want,
I just so many assignments.
and I wrote down. Saves a little bit. Put it back up. Is my last name.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, it's
for-
your website.
Yes, so for last quarter, I thought for $200. No, in an hour. That clock's not accurate. Yeah, that clock's not accurate.
You're like, starting right now.
I'm gonna get coffee. That clock's not accurate. I feel better.
Everyone's gone. I was gonna say, does anybody else need help real quick?
No.
I hope everybody got set up. I don't know if that happened 100%.
I think most people did.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to try to do it at home on my own. That'll be fun.
And actually, once you've done it a couple of times, it's fairly easy to do.
Oh, yeah, we had to. How are you? I'm good. How are you doing? Oh, that's not fun. Oh, I'm sure that's fun, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I've heard that could take, just, I think depending on what you're trying to do, that could, yeah, I know.
Supposed to go on a fast track.
Right. They wonder why we get frustrated with.
I'm grown up.
Yeah.
I think they forgot to stop the video.
Well, the last 15 minutes were just riveting.
Yeah,
I bet they were.